All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We got a lot to cover tonight. We've got Christy with me. What's going on, Christy?
Hey, 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 how's it going?
Good. So, guys, we had you guys, most of you were probably on the first one that we had, and she's going to go into many more examples tonight, and we're just super excited to see what she's got for us. She sent me the slides beforehand, but I have not gone through and seen all of them, so I'm excited to see her examples. What's going on in Boston tonight, Christy?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot. I was gonna say I tossed a few examples there, so maybe I like the element of surprise. So we'll see how it's going. But yeah, Boston's great. We had a heat wave. I think relative to a heat wave, I'm pretty sure it was almost 80 the other day.
Wow.
So for this time of year when it could be snowing, pretty, but things are going all right.
Not bad. I know you like the sun and the warmth, so I won't tell you what it's like in Texas tonight. So guys, I watched a webinar last night, and so I know that it's nice to see the other end of it. If anytime during this during the webinar she's going through the slides and anything's blurry, go to the YouTube link, and I'm posting that right now in the chat room. If you go to the YouTube link and then click on the gear button and change it to HD 720p, it is super clear. And so I know that you, like in the webinar last night that Greg Mercer from Jungle Scout did, there was times when it was blurry, and if I went to the YouTube link, it was awesome. So I remember HD 720p on the YouTube side will make it a lot clearer. Also, you can also reconnect at the bottom, and that sometimes helps as well. But anything you can do to reduce, not have things streaming in the background will help out a lot. So. All right, Christy, I'll let you go. Get right to it. Get right into your presentation, and I'm excited to see what you got.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think that, we tested this before, so I don't think that we're going to have any troubles tonight, and we didn't have any troubles last time, so hopefully you won't need to use that, but it's good to know that that's there just in case. So
yeah.
I have to start off by saying thank you. I mean, thank you to everyone who signed up for this, and for the many, many, many of you who signed up for the second webinar after watching the first one. It's very, very exciting and humbling to see that you guys have come back. I'm so excited to tell you that I've had so many success stories. I've heard so many success stories from people who have created their own private label products or exclusive bundles just in the past few months, just since June, because that's when we did our first webinar. So a lot of things have been happening in the last couple of months. So I was thinking yesterday that I wanted to kick this off by sharing some success stories, but I'm realizing sort of here in the moment that I didn't really get permission to use their names, but there were some really cool ones. There was one gentleman who wasn't able to make it to the live showing tonight, but he reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that he's not on his first or his second, but actually his third private label product just since June, and we're here in October.
Wow.
So it's incredible. That's at a faster speed, I think, maybe than I'm at, and I go at a pretty fast speed. So and he's using the easy promotional method. So it was just really cool, and that was
yeah. And Abe just chatted in the chat room, and you don't have the chat room up, but he said you can use his example.
His example. Oh, I will. Well, then Abe, I think two. I think Abe also you've sold now, right? Created and sold, I think, two in that amount of time. So yes, people are doing more than one, more than two. They're getting out there and using this method, which is just incredible to hear. It's another woman who I'm hoping she's there, but she might not be. Feel free to say hello on the chat. But she got her product from concept and out the door in 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks. And on top of that, she messaged me and she told me a few weeks later she was already out of stock by the fourth week. Through the fourth week, and it wasn't like she had just 5 in stock. She had like a solid amount of these products in stock. So I can't wait to hear how that success story goes, because she's only a few weeks into this. That's going to be a really awesome product. So usually by the fourth week, mine's entering the warehouse. So kudos to her. That was just I was just floored by that one as well. So and
awesome.
I know we've had a few people post in the mentoring group who were able to pull the trigger on something like, I want to say it was $68.
Yes.
So so there's people who are doing multiple private labels and doing it in a really fast amount of time and doing it for fairly inexpensive price points. So it's just been great to hear a lot of these. It makes my day to hear how well this process has worked out for people. So as you you can tell, I'm very excited.
Yeah. Somebody says in the chat room, please slow down. You're talking fast.
Goodness. I know. I'm so sorry. I do. I speak very fast.
When she gets excited, guys, it's okay. She's excited to share this content. So.
I get excited. I say a lot of ums too. All the time.
Oh man.
But yeah, but thank you, Ryan, for having me here again. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you guys some more tips and tricks. I've got a bunch of new examples, as Ryan said earlier, to show you. And this time, I've tied them back to places that you can actually source from. So if one of these examples really just sticks out to you, you're going to have a solid lead to work with to get that ball rolling. So my intention here was to make this as easy as possible for you. So you can walk away with, I want you to walk away with ideas. I want you to walk away with sources, confident expectations, and sort of, I'm going to call it like a mental safety net that you can test this out. You can try this and not spend, your entire life savings doing it.
That's right.
So, and the truth is, worst case scenario, of course, no one wants to think about that, but worst case scenario, you're out $100. That probably won't happen. You'll at least get some of it back. But, we don't want that to happen. But it definitely takes some of the pressure off when you're not spending, hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands of dollars. So, right. I would say, as we're just getting started, my goal here at the end of this is to sort of debunk the notion that private labeling is at, the top of the pyramid here, or is so unattainable that you must have been a seller for whatever 5+ years and already made $1 million, and before you can even possibly consider taking on private labeling. So I'm hoping to take away that scary factor that seems to exist sort of community-wide. So. Yeah. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to drive that home today. I'm sorry, I'm trying to slow down. I'll slow down.
That's okay.
But yeah, let's go for it. So I've got an agenda here. I'm going to run through our agenda so that you kind of have an idea of what to expect throughout this webinar. But just before I go, there's a few housekeeping things. I think Ryan covered most of them. Again, if the sound quality gets a little wonky, you can go to the YouTube page. We don't expect there to be any issues, but also there's a chat room. So guys, please ask questions. Ryan is on there. I know he said before he's going to relay those questions on over to me. I can't see them. But he'll either respond to you, or we can have them. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so we'll chat about any questions that weren't addressed throughout the webinar then. I'd love to keep this, I'd love to keep this around the hour mark and then turn it over to questions. I absolutely respect everyone's time. We're already sort of late here in the East Coast, but we will certainly be here as long as you need us. So it will go as long as you need to with the Q&A session. And then Brian, I think they're going to get this recording, because I think there was some questions before that you're going to receive the recording in an email at some point tomorrow. It's going to include the replay link, the slides, because this is mostly going to be done on the on PowerPoint, slides to the webinar, and then the Excel list that I've created for you guys that has, this time it has 50, it might even be closer to 60 promotional companies on here. So is that right, Ryan? It'll all go out in the email tomorrow?
In the email in the morning. That's right.
Perfect. Okay. So if you don't get this tonight, or if you have to leave a little bit early, feel free. You will get this replay link tomorrow. So, okay. So let's jump into it. So for the agenda, very kind of similar to last time. I started off the first webinar talking about one of my products that I designed, I sourced, and I sold all in 4 weeks. So all of those steps in 4 weeks. That whole process happened in the late spring. So I figured I would give you guys some updates on how that product is doing. And mostly because I want you to see the potential income that can come from a $10 item. My item I charge, it costs $10. You can buy it for $10, but that it can actually bring you. I invested less than $100, so I want to share with you where that $100 took me just in that short amount of time. So I want you to see sort of the progression of what can happen. Benefits and utilization. I'll probably spend, my hope is to really only spend about 10 minutes going through this. We have well over, I think, Ryan, like well over 100 plus more new people who may not have had the chance to watch the first webinar. So I want to review the highlights and go over the expectations of working with promotional companies. For a lot of you guys, this is going to be a refresher, but my hope is maybe you guys you'll ask some questions or share any experiences that you've had over the last couple of months in working with promotional companies. So if not, sit back. It'll just take about 10 minutes, and we'll just kind of it'll be a refresher for you. So, and then so a new piece that I'm adding here is sourcing beyond promotional companies. the majority of this webinar and my method to use promotional companies, the majority of this webinar is my method to use promotional companies, but what I want to talk about here is sort of this next level strategy, the whys of why you might want to go somewhere else and how you can do that and how you would go around using promotional companies. So we'll talk about why you might want to do that, how you can do that, when you would want to do that, and then I'm going to go into some tactics on how you can source elsewhere. And it's basically once you've proven your product. So I also included a case study with you. For you on a real product that I have used. I've used this method on, and it's a really cool story because I kind of take you through all the steps that I legitimately took. So I want to help sort of solidify that concept with that example. So and then we're getting to the examples, which from all that I can tell and all the feedback that I got, this was really what was most exciting for people. So this is where I spent the majority of my time when preparing for this webinar. I've got some really good products to show you. I spent a lot of time on them because they showcase how you can make this method work. And this time around, I'm excited to say that I've paired them up with a source that you can find in the Excel list. So you see an example, you're going to see where I will tell you this is where I sourced this product from if I were to buy this product. So, and I did that because I want to make that next step for you. I want everybody to leave here. I want to make that next step easier for you because I want you to take action. I want this to be as easy as possible. So that's my goal here. So without further ado, I really
Come on, hurry up, get to the examples.
Why are you talking so fast? Okay. Having some water this time. All right, so I've tossed in a few more photos of my little munchkin here. I'm sorry, I'm a little sad about it. I take any opportunity to show him off. But this is Riley. He's my miniature golden retriever, and I allow myself to show him off because he was actually my inspiration for the product that I've been taking you guys through with here. So as sort of a recap, I know that you guys have seen this particular slide before, but as a recap, I chose pet products because I'm obviously a huge consumer of pet products. You could find me in Petco probably on a daily basis. But I figured it'd be best, of course, just start in an area that I knew a lot about. So when I first got started, I think I Googled something like wholesale directory list. And I clicked on one of the first pages that popped up in Google, and it had a lot of wholesale companies there listed, and it was broken down by product type. So that was perfect for me. I chose pets. And I spent about 3 days, or really just a couple of hours each day, so it wasn't like a 72-hour thing, but I spent about 3 days combing through these pet websites. But it wasn't until the third day that I came across a product that I just never seen before. In all of my pet owning experience, which is what it is, but I'm there a lot. So I was immediately intrigued. I'd just never seen anything like this before. It was a new concept to me. So I went and I checked it out on Amazon, and I started doing some digging. And I found that the most purchased with item to this particular item was yet another product that I had never seen before. So here I am, I've got 2 different products, and I'm stressing this because it plays into what I've been doing later on. But there's these 2 products that I'd never seen before. So I dug into that second product, and I found out that there were only 3 sellers. They were all Marsha fulfilled, and they all looked a little bit, I'm going to say homemade. I could definitely just tell that they were private label products. And the thing is that they were just so basic. And I knew instantly looking at them that this was something that I can do that. I can do this. And I can do it better. So I decided I was just going to go for it. I'd been looking for the right kind of thing to do. And so I just decided I was going to pull the trigger on this type of private label product. And so I was going to do it. So, I will tell you that for design, I would not consider myself to be a designer, but I spent the earlier part of my career in the marketing world and working with designers. So I know enough to be dangerous with the Adobe tools, but I would not really consider myself to be a designer. But it was enough, and it was easy enough. So I started designing. I read a lot of the reviews and made some enhancements and, kind of tinkered with it. And after about a week, I felt pretty good about it. And then, so I had sort of like a prototype that I was able to just sort of show off to my friends and family to get their feedback. And guys, do not skip this step. Do not skip this step, because I had the best I still, to this day, every time I launch a new private label product, swear to God, I always come back and they're like, oh, why didn't you think about this? And it's fantastic advice. So for me, I don't know if it's just my family in particular that has really good advice, but don't skip that step, because it always helps me. But they made one really good suggestion that was just a game changer almost. So I had to really kind of go back to the drawing board, and I refined it some more. And after about a week, I was ready. I felt really confident about it. So then I had to go figure out, okay, where do I get this now? So I will tell you, this is essentially a paper product. I knew instantly when I looked at this, when I said I knew instantly, it was because I knew I could go to any printer and have this created for me. So I started with Vistaprint. It was the biggest company that I knew out there, you know, that I knew did printing of paper type of thing. And I was just going to start there as my baseline. And it turns out that they had, you know, good pricing that worked for me. So it was like $70 later, I pulled the trigger. And I just thought, what the heck? I'm just going to do it. So it took, I think it took about 5 days to go through production and ship to me. And 5 days later, it shows up at my doorstep. And I opened it up. It looked fantastic. It was exactly what I wanted it to look like. So I took it out, I packaged it, I labeled it, and I sent it off to Amazon. So all of that really kind of just took me one day. And then, so it arrived at the warehouse. It was alive for about 3 days before it sold. And then the day that it actually sold, it sold 2. So I was so excited about that. And then within a week, I think I told you, because I'm trying to figure out exactly where I stopped last time, but within a week, Amazon gave me the #1 new release badge in that particular category. I don't know if I covered that last
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was awesome. It was very validating. It was very validating. So I'm guessing this is where we left off. So I will say, just sort of to get everybody on the same page here for the sake of transparency, this item cost me about 85 cents. Possibly even a little bit less now, but right about the time it was about 85 cents.
That's a big spending. That's big.
I know. I mean, I'm a big spender. What can I say? And I sell it for $10 FBA. The ROI is in the hundreds, and the profit is right about it's about 5 1/4, something like that. Jeez. So I know that when I first started doing exclusive bundling, before I even knew to call it exclusive bundling, even before this product. I told myself whenever I had this mental thing about going private label that if I was going to go through all this work and all this time and effort, man, I better be making 10, 15, at least dollars a pop on each one of these if I'm going to go through all this effort. And you may still have that mindset, but I no longer feel that way. And I don't feel that way because I know that I can put a solid plan in place to make that number multiply. So I'm going to go through kind of what has happened since. So, because I'm pretty sure that's where we left off. So,
yeah, our first one was back in June, just so for all you guys out there that might not remember.
Yeah, so we're at like 5 months now?
Yes, that was this, almost 5 months.
5 months. So, oh, well, this was in May. We had our webinar in June.
Okay.
Since I launched it. So in that amount of time, I have doubled my sales.
Wow.
Consistently doubled my sales. And that really took me to get to that point. It's about 3 months. And I don't think that looking back, it should not have taken that long. I committed the cardinal sin, if you will, of running out of stock, which is incredibly painful. I was out of stock for 13 days. And my one and only excuse is that I was busy doing the second thing on here, which was expanding the brand. So I actually created 2 spin-off products from my original product. Now they're very similar. It's the same type of product, some a little bit different size and a little bit different colors and just kind of different versions of it. So I had 2 spin-offs, and that my second one, I've done 3. My second one did so well that it knocked out my first one on that #1 new release and stole the #1 new release for that product category. So,
real quick, William wants to know, you doubled your sales from what? From right when you first started, or was like
right? So right from when I first started. But then I was on a pattern to continue doubling, and then I ran out of stock, and so now I'm just now kind of gaining back that momentum. So I think when I first started, I was selling. It was like 2 that first day, and then it was 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and 2 and 3, and 3 and 3, and 3 and 4. That kind of thing. So it was sort of going up there, and then I was out of stock, and I really 13 days, I almost had to start back from scratch. It was really painful. So yeah, so I did that. I created two other spinoff products, and then I created multi-packs. And I did this because it was very obvious right away that when people were purchasing, it was the same person and they were purchasing multiples at one time. So that should be a pretty solid tip that you know, you should probably create multi-packs. So I created a few on the original listing, and I will continue to do that. I will create them for the second product that I rolled out. Probably not the third, but I will have variations for those. And then, so the fourth thing that I have on here, which was, it was something I initiated back in the early September that's just now kind of coming about, is when I had mentioned in my first story before, I said I found a product, and it was a product that I'd never heard of before. And then I researched and I found the most commonly purchased product with that one. That commonly purchased one was my private label. But now I went back and I did some research and I found the manufacturer of that first product that caught my attention, the one that caught my eye. And I found the manufacturer, and I was able to find, surprisingly, a fairly good deal on that. And I just ordered 100 of those. So now I'm going to create exclusive bundles with my product and theirs that already has their search volume is much higher, because mine's in a little, oh God, I'm going to say the word niche. What did we decide?
I think it's technically niche, but I say niche all the time.
Okay, all right. So their product is same concept, just in a bigger field. So there's a lot more search volume for that. So I think that this product is going to do very well if I bundle it together. So bundle, and then now I'm really excited to say that I have. It's currently en route. I am sending my original product to both the UK and Canada.
Awesome. You're going global.
Man, I'm going to try. I'm trying with it. So
global.
Opening an additional market. So, so overall, just in summary, I now, taking this one product that I was making, $5.25 on, I now have 3 private label products, 2 of which are doing really well. The third one is just so-so. It's there, it's just doing so-so. I'm on the verge. It just needs to be packed up to put together, but of creating another exclusive bundle, and I'm increasing exposure to new marketplaces. So this is just all within 5 months. I'm so excited. I would love to be able to tell you what it's going to look like at 9 months. And all of this, guys, I'm not really doing a ton of marketing. I'm doing pay-per-click ads, but I'm not doing a ton of marketing. And as far as reviews go, because I know it's a little bit of a hot topic right now, Ryan, maybe you can remind me sort of at the end. I can go through and sort of say kind of what I've been doing in order to get reviews, but maybe we'll do that at the end of the Q&A. Do you want to remind me to do that?
Sure.
But yeah, but all of that is to say, this is a lot of this is just, I'm refining my keywords and the listing to just be very optimized. So that's where we are. We're 5 months into it, and I'm pretty darn excited because my $5 is taking me pretty far away for also spending, I think, $70 to get started. So I like to say that because I've done this multiple times with other products, not just in this particular product line, but since then. So I say that because I want you guys to feel very confident that you can choose lower priced items and find a way to multiply that to really make money out of it. So let's see, let's get going. So now so what are promotional stores? So this is a bit of the recap from the first from the first webinar. So I'm just going to kind of briefly run through this. I know that some people who are new might have some questions. I'm happy to ask them, Ryan, if there's something that I forget sort of along the way, or we can use that at the end.
Okay.
So promotional stores, what are they? You guys have seen them before at trade shows, I guarantee you, right? You have classic things like the pins, the bags, flash drives, swag, I think is what this generally is considered. Right? So we've all seen them, but you probably didn't use them. I know that I certainly didn't. I have been working, sadly, I've been working with promotional companies for nearly 5 years. And it took me, right.
That's not sad, because if you didn't work with them, you wouldn't have seen this method and we wouldn't be doing this webinar.
But do you know how long it took me to realize and make that connection? How long I've been running my Amazon business before this? So it's pretty sad, Ryan. But anyway, so it took me kind of a long time to make that connection. But so what are these promotional stores? So in my personal definition is that they are a wholesale company with a built-in private labeling system. They are essentially a middleman between us business owners, right, and manufacturers, right? But their one service is that they provide, they customize your products. They expect to print your logo or your image on these products. So they're different than wholesalers. They're very similar, but they're also kind of different from wholesalers in that you don't have to really set up an account to prove that you're a business to purchase. They really just don't care. They cater to small business owners. And so I'm going to say this sort of as a loose statement, but they generally have lower minimums because they cater to lower business, smaller business owners. That can go in the opposite direction. You can certainly have some wholesale companies who have one order minimums, and then you can find a product on a promotional company and it'd be a 2,000 minimum. So that is a general statement. But overall, they expect to print your logo or their image. It's the reason that they are in business, is to customize. They are there to customize products. Whereas that's not necessarily the case with wholesalers. It's more the exception, right, Ryan?
Right.
We like to find those, but that's usually. Is there anything else? I know obviously you work a little bit more with wholesale companies. I can't remember if you kind of added something last time. I don't know if you want
I think we just said that wholesale companies, you're buying their brand, you're buying it as is, and the promotional stores are there. Their job is to customize. That's why they exist. If I own a business and I want to pass out favors to people to remember my business, that's why the pin, you get those pins with people's, those company names on them, and hats with company names. Those come from promotional stores. So yeah, they're different from wholesalers, definitely in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so there's pros and cons to working with both, and I think I'm going to touch on that a little bit whenever we go through the case study. But so that's essentially sort of the difference, because I think I've had a lot of questions about those too. So let's jump into it. So benefits. There are thousands of products out there of all price points. And when I say thousands of products, I mean there are things outside of these classic items that you might find at, say like Vistaprint or all the examples that I showed earlier. There are hundreds, guys, hundreds of other promotional companies out there that are not just local to the US or to North America. Some of them go international with this huge reach, and they have thousands and thousands of products in their catalog, and all of them, guys, you can customize. That's the service that they are providing. So I love that it seems to be a never-ending supply of things that you can customize. They offer a variety of services. And so I'm talking mostly about relationship companies right now. I've broken that out in the first webinar, but for the most part, this is all the things about a relationship company, because online, you have relationship companies and you have online companies. And the online companies, you go online, you pick a product, you upload your logo, and you print. It's very, very easy. So there are other companies out there that offer this additional service, and I call those relationship companies. So as I move forward, that's what I'm referring to. So those companies can offer a variety of services, like doing research for you. They have a design team for you. They can make recommendations for you. So for research, you don't have to know everything or spend hours going through products to find whatever you want. You can just call them up. Really, I do this, honestly. I will call them up and I will say that I'm looking for a desktop gumball candy dispenser. There's one sitting on my desk, so I'm going to use that one. So that's what I'm looking for. And I don't want to spend more than whatever, $5, $6, $7. So I just kind of give them my general parameters, and they will do the research for you if they want your business, right? They'll be able to tell you right away if it's not something that they would be able to, that they can carry. But for the most part, you're probably calling them because you know that this is a promotional type item. So it's something that they can do research for you, and they'll come back to you in a couple days and they'll say, okay, this is what we found. They'll give you some quotes on things and you'll get to kind of go from there. But at least you didn't have to go digging through their website, which you can certainly do, but this also saves you some time. So designers, I break this out into two different types. I have so they have what's called the pre-flight department. That department just sets up for print, which means you have already come to them. You've already chosen whatever your product is. You already have your artwork all ready to go. They just need to sort of position it appropriately on whatever the item is. That is a pre-flight department. They also have companies, so the bigger ones, bigger promotional companies have things called art departments, and that is essentially a full design team. They can do anything and everything you want, full of designers. So some of the bigger companies usually have an art department that can do all of your designs and make it print ready, which is beautiful, because it can be for those of you who just get anxious about doing the design, about going, oh, where do I go here, and how do I know if I get it, it's going to be ready, or it's going to be high resolution, and when I finally go to get it, you don't have to worry about any of that. If that causes you anxiety, there are a lot of companies that will do this in-house for you. It's already set up, but I will tell you it costs a fee. So we'll get into fees here in a minute, but and then recommendations. They can make suggestions for things you may not have seen before, or they may say, you know, if I'm looking at a gumball machine, they might say, well, the imprint area of this gumball machine is a quarter of the size of this other gumball machine, so maybe you want to take that into consideration, that you really probably couldn't see your logo on this. So they can do a lot of services for you. They can also give you samples and share trending products, which I love. Samples. Sorry guys,
That's okay.
If you are serious about buying a product, they will likely send you a free sample. It's probably going to have someone else's logo on it, but they want you to get a feel for the quality. This means that, you know, they want you to have all the information that you need in order to be able to feel confident buying from them. So they will likely send you a free sample. But you do need to be a bit serious. I wouldn't recommend calling them and asking them for, you know, can I get a sample of this and this and this? That's probably not going to work out so well for you. But, you know, they're happy to do that if they think that, you know, there's a chance that you might buy it. I'll cover this a little bit more of how this sort of worked out for me in the case study that is in here in a couple of slides. But trending products, these guys are in the know. I mean, think about it. They know what the manufacturers are making because they have that relationship, and they know what products people are calling to ask for because they're getting the calls. So they know what is coming down the pike. And so this is one of the prime things that I'm going to show you in this case study. So I'll go into that a little bit more. But these guys really, they know. So don't be afraid to ask what's trending right now. And the last thing that I have on here for benefits is that most of the time you can split shipments. I would say it's more common than not, but not everyone will do it. So, you know, you can have 30 units go to your house if you wanted to kind of put it together and put make a bundle out of it. Or, you know, you can have 70 units go to your prep company. Some will split shipments internationally. I think that's more on the rare side. I don't think that's the case for all companies, but you can certainly, if it's something you're considering or something that you want to do, you can certainly feel free to ask. So these are just some of the benefits that you can expect with working with a promotional company, especially for ones that are not straight paper-based. Again, if you have, I have no idea, Ryan, if people are asking a lot of questions on this, but
yes, lots of questions, but we can hold a lot of them to the end here.
Well, I was going to say a lot of this, I mean, we spent, you know, probably 30-40 minutes going through this in detail in the first webinar. So we could certainly recap it at the end, or if you have one or two burning questions that you want to ask me before we move on, it's entirely up to you. I trust your judgment.
If you want to answer a really quick question, do the promotional companies charge you for the design work if they do a design for you?
Yes. Let's go to that page.
Okay, that's next. All
yeah,
right, there we go.
So that's next, yeah. So we went through the benefits, and let's talk about some of the costs. So one time, the artwork setup fee. The question that they just asked is actually this third bullet, so I'll get to that, but I'll just kind of go in order here. So one-time artwork setup fee. This means usually the first time doesn't matter what the product is. I put paper products aside. Put those aside because that's generally the exception to what I'm about to say. If you have a gumball machine, if you have a coffee mug, if you have a blanket, if you have a jar, and you want to put your artwork or your logo on it, there is usually going to be a one-time setup fee for that art department or that pre-flight guy, that pre-flight department, to just get it set up and make sure that it all looks good, that it's high resolution and that it's whatever. I'm not really sure exactly what they do. I just know that it's an industry standard, but they make it look perfect for you. So it's a one-time setup fee. If you ever go back and reorder more, you never have to pay that fee again. So other fees, the addition of colors. I've got an example to show you with this later, but colors can also be more. So usually if you find the base cost of a product. If you're looking at something and it says, okay, here's a product, it costs $2, you can put your artwork on it. That's usually going to include probably just one color printing. So you can use it, great, you can put that on there, but you can only use black, you can only use blue, whatever it is you want to. Now, if you want to put it on multiple sides, if it's a box or if it's a jar, if you want to put it on multiple sides or on the top of something, you're usually going to be charged for the number of locations on an item. So if I'm thinking a box, and if I want my logo or my artwork on two sides of that box, I'm probably going to pay for two setup fees for that on both sides, which is unfun. But also with coloring. So let's say that you want to add, blues and purples and pinks and things. For every single additional color, there is a possibility that they will charge you more for adding more colors. So all of this, everything that I say, guys, please take that as a generalization. Like I said, there are thousands of companies out there. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different policy, but I'm talking about sort of standard across the bigger companies, and a lot of the companies that you'll find in the promotional list, they're going to have these type of fees. But be pleasantly surprised if they don't. So it's not for every single one of them. But and then the third bullet here, getting to their question, using their in-house designer. Yes, it will cost a fee. Now, if it's just setup, if it's just the pre-flight department and they're just getting it set up, that's usually included. You can usually have them, they'll send you back a PDF proof, and so you'll send them the artwork. They'll kind of mock it up on the computer and say, okay, this is what your logo looks like on the side of a tissue box or whatever it is that you're buying. And they'll send it back to you, and you'll get to approve it if it's a little bit off or it's a little bit too big or whatever. You can usually work back and forth like that, and then that doesn't cost you anything as long as you do it. As long as you're not doing it 10 times over. I think you usually get 2 or 3 times for free. So that really shouldn't cost you. But if you're going to a designer, if you're going to a company and you say, okay, I want this tissue box, and I want you to put polka dots all around it and I don't know, swirls and things. That means the designer actually has to create the image that you want on there, and that they will charge you for. I couldn't tell you exactly what that fee would be. It probably depends on the complexity. I would say that it is going to be, if I sort of had to put this out there, I would say it's going to be less than what you would pay going to just any designer out in the world, because they're usually very expensive per hour. But it is probably going to be more than what you would pay if you found a designer on Fiverr. Mm-hmm. So people kind of may or may not feel positive or negative about Fiverr. I personally love Fiverr. Yeah, but if that scares you and you want to stay all in one-stop shop, a lot of companies do have in-house designers that they work with. So I hope that answers the question. I couldn't. Yeah. Okay, good, perfect. All right. Where are we? Oh, okay. So we're now into sort of the new sort of area that I'm kind of excited to tell you about. So promotional companies, it's conflicting because I'm telling you guys, use promotional companies. They're fantastic. They absolutely are. They're great because they make it fairly easy to brand products with relatively low minimums. You don't have to spend $1,000. They're really awesome. That's why we're doing this webinar. So why am I telling you guys to go elsewhere? There is you, and there is a promotional company, and then there's the manufacturer. There are 3 players in a game where you really only need 2 when you think about it. So we're here, at some point you are going to want to cut out the middleman fees. Like we said, we defined them before, that these are a middleman between you and the manufacturer. They will bake in fees. You are paying for their services. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a fraction of the cost. It's not going to be worth your time. So the concept here is that if you can go around the middleman and find the manufacturing company behind them, there's a good chance that you could cut down your cost even more. So when does it make sense? I would say after you have proven your product that you have proven that your product will sell. Only after. This is step 1, is to always go to the promotional company. So you want to buy because they can offer you low minimums, and yeah, you're going to pay a little bit higher cost per unit, but if you've done the math, you've figured out that, yeah, okay, you can make that work. That's why you've gone to them in the first place. But you want to do this so you can test out the market. But after that, start looking so that you can increase your profits. So I will tell you, paper products usually won't make sense. My product that I had mentioned earlier is a paper product. It doesn't make sense for me. You could, but you know, a 30% savings, which sounds very substantial, but when you're talking about something that's already 85 cents, you know, you're cutting things out. You're saving yourself a quarter. And really, when you think about the hassle that would go to having to find a new supply, I'm happier that way. So for me, saving 25 cents is not something I'm terribly concerned about, but there are other products that could be. So outside of paper, when does it make sense? I would say use your judgment. By that, I mean, look at what the product is made up of. What is the material behind the product? If it's a ceramic mug, I mean, I have to believe that they can be made for something like 50 cents or probably even less than that. You may not find it for 50 cents, but if you start off by paying $3 for a mug that you know could probably be made for a fraction of that, then common sense, right? Common sense will tell you that there's padding to be added there. So that's when it makes sense. Think about it when it would make sense for you to go elsewhere. So how do you find alternate suppliers? First, my very first question is you have to decide if your product is going to be in one of two buckets, unique versus generic. And by that, I don't mean not to be confused with non-branded, right? Because these are all generic, but are they unique in shape? So here I've got two examples. These are unique products. This is a heart-shaped mug. You're not going to find that in a lot of places. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to find. This has a heart shape, the handle here. So very unique. This, super generic. This is about as generic as a mug can get. It's like a 12 or 16 ounce mug, and it's white, and you print colors on it, and this one's same here. This is a classic travel mug. So these are very, very generic products. So if your product, if what you're looking at, when you go to a promotional company, falls into this sort of generic bucket, this is fantastic. You're in luck. There are a million suppliers, wholesale companies, manufacturers out there for you to research. All you have to do is pretty much search for like ceramic mug manufacturer, and you're going to find plenty of options out there. So this is not going to be difficult for you to find and replicate this product somewhere else outside of a promotional company whenever you are to that point, whenever you have proven it with the promotional company. However, if it is a unique product, life's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. So let's figure out how you might find a cheaper supplier. So the first thing I would say here is, and I know this sounds silly, but this was actually this was another one of those things that took me a very long time for the light bulb to click. Inspect the packaging. Odds are you are going to find a good lead on the tag or sort of the fine print somewhere written on the box. It may not be, this is the manufacturer, but it might give you some sort of information for you to then go search and pretty much lead you right to it. So I've put this example here because I was looking for a particular blanket. Mm-hmm. And I had ordered some from a promotional company, and I eventually wanted to kind of take it to the next level. And I'm racking my brain. This is basically, it's a normal sized blanket. It's plush. It's cream color. How on earth am I going to be able to find that somewhere else? And then it dawned on me that the sample that they sent me had a tag on it. And so on the other side here, I'm able to see who sells this, who is another company. And it turned out to be that was not the manufacturer, but they work directly with the manufacturer. So I could go through that company and then find the manufacturer, and then I found it a lot less expensive. So I would say more often than not, if you inspect the packaging on the product that you're currently getting from the promotional company or the sample that they send you, mm-hmm. you're going to get a pretty solid lead there. But in the event that you don't, we're going to put our investigator hats on, and we're gonna hang out with our good pal Google. And so the first thing that I would do here is I would start with the product description, right? So if we're looking at our mugs, I would say unique mug shapes wholesale. I would search something like that, or wholesale heart-shaped mugs, or custom mugs in the shape of a heart, or manufacturer custom mugs, that type of thing. So I would start with that. And I have done this once before. It worked out very well for me. I don't know. I couldn't tell you odds on how often that works out, but it worked for me once, so I figured I'd put it in here. Second thing, find a company who sells similar, unique shaped mugs. So maybe they don't have heart mugs, but maybe they have a square mug, or maybe they have a triangle mug or something. And then I would ask them, if you don't see it in their catalog, first I would ask them if their manufacturer makes heart-shaped mugs. And if they do, fantastic. If they don't, do they have any insight on where you can find another manufacturer that makes custom mugs? Because my guess is if you're already talking to a company that does this, they're in the industry. They're probably going to know a few people who are their competitors or who else they work with and that type of thing. So that would probably be another solid lead. Another thing that I would do is search related articles. I did the same research. I had to go this far, and I did the same research on a pet play laser. It was a laser for pets. And I was able to trace it back because, I mean, first of all, there's only so many companies who do pet technology, so that made it a little bit easier. But I found as many pet technology companies and wholesalers as I could, and I sort of followed that trail to find which major corporations owned these companies. And most of the time, I had to go through articles in order to continue that trace. So another option here would be going through industry magazines. So I found some of those by going through pet magazines, right? So there were articles that were written, or there was the author that wrote an article. So, I mean, if you kind of put your investigator hat on, I know this sounds like a lot of work, guys, but I'm going to show you through my case study how well this can really pay off if you have a product that really has a lot of padding in there and that you can significantly cut down your costs and increase your profit here. So if this sounds like a lot of work, this is definitely a next step. This is a next level type of thing. So whenever I went through that industry magazine, I found 2 really good leads through looking through that, and these were just people in the know, and so they were able to kind of direct me where I needed to go. So finally, another option is, and I did this again with another product that I was looking into, see if you can't find a similar product on Amazon, and then look at the brand name listed for that product. So now if it's a private label product and they've got a brand name on there that's just whatever their brand name is, then that's not going to help you. But sometimes they will put the actual manufacturer's name of that product on there. So it's just one more tactic for you to go to. And guys, I would say if you have done all of this research, I would be prepared for a lot of roads to lead you overseas. If it becomes this difficult, you might need to start looking, quite honestly, you might need to start looking at Alibaba or one of those made in China's or somewhere overseas, because manufacturers are not easy to find, but they are not terribly, terribly difficult to find either. So I would be prepared for that to be where it leads. So a lot of this might make common sense to you. For me, I mean, it wasn't totally. I had to do a lot of digging, but if I called enough people and I emailed enough people and I asked them who they knew, I was able to find almost anything I wanted. And I've done this with a lot of products now. So what I want to do to sort of kind of encompass this and sort of drive home this concept in hopes is I want to share we're launching into the examples section, which is an exciting thing, but this is actually an example. This is what I'm going to do the case study on. So everything here is an entirely true story. It did happen to me a couple months ago, and this landed on my lap just in a beautiful way. So there's so many reasons why I want to share this story, but I was called, I received a call, my phone rang by a promotional company, a company that I had used before, and it was a gentleman, and he was calling to introduce himself as my new rep, as my former rep was no longer with the company. So he wanted to call, introduce himself, and he said, I know that you guys hadn't ordered from us in, like a year and a half, so I wanted to see if there's any chance that I get back on your radar. So I get it. Most people consider that a sales call. For me, this is what I do now, so I'm happy to take that call. So I told him, I'm always looking, but at the moment I wasn't looking for anything specific, but I'd love to hear, while I have you on the phone, I'd love to hear if there are any new popular products that people are asking for. And instantly, he goes, you know what? I have the perfect thing. He said, have you heard of a webcam cover? And my immediate response was, I have no idea what that is, so no, I have not. Please tell me more. And he said, okay, well, I'll send you a link if you're near your computer. And I was sitting right at my computer. So he sends me this link while we're still chatting on the phone. He's telling me all the details about it, how popular it is, all the people that are asking for it. And as he's sort of chatting, I'm I've already got it pulled up on Amazon. I'm Googling, you know, or not Googling, but I'm looking up on Amazon webcam cover. I immediately look it up on Amazon, and I find this here. So this is a, so I don't know if you can, I sort of tried to blow it up, this picture here, but on your laptop, there's usually a webcam here that you can see. And this just sits on top of that webcam, and you can sort of slide it over. So to give you perspective, this whole piece right here is smaller than my thumb. It's very tiny. So it's very non-intrusive, the thing that goes on your laptop, but you can close it off. So just in case, the idea is just in case your, I don't know, someone can hack into your camera and spy on you. So I think this is just sort of the anti-fear of that. So, so I found it on Amazon as we're chatting on the phone, and I'm looking at here. Oh, no, I did it, Ryan.
It's okay.
I said, don't use the clicker. I won't use the clicker. So I found it on here, $15, 3 months average rank. So over a 90-day rank, 8, not 8,000, not 800, not 80. I would have been happy with any one of those, but 8 in the category of computer and accessories. I can't even believe that this is real, but this is what Jungle Scout tells me, the free sales estimator tool. 1,500 sales per month, right? And what is this material, guys? Immediately, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh my God, this thing is the cheapest thing on the planet. It's material. So as I'm looking at this, I'm sort of getting really excited. And so I said, okay, you're selling me on it. So tell me, what does this cost? And he said, well, it costs about $4 a unit. And he was talking about an individual unit here. So I'm doing pretty quick math and realizing that there was no way that I was going to be able to turn a profit on this. So I hung up the phone with him, and I'm thinking, oh man. So I'm looking at this, and there was really this dominated the market. There really were not too many other options out there for webcam covers, and they were all sort of different types and different shapes and different concepts, stickers and things. And this company just seemed to really own the market. So I'm thinking, man, if I can get this real product here, this could be pretty awesome. So I figured this is one of those times where I'm going to put my investigator hat on, and I'm going to try to figure out a better way that I can go around this, because I don't want that price point. So the first thing here was really obvious for me. I looked up C-Slide, and this was also the name of the company on Amazon. It was the brand that was listed there, C-Slide. So I start going through the trail, and I find the company. I speak to a rep. They told me that they were not able to customize. They were more of sort of a storefront, but they gave me a name of a rep. And so I ended up Googling that guy, and he works for a company, the parent company that no one would have ever heard of, called SolPow, which is the parent company. And so I finally get this guy's contact, and I email him, and I kind of tell him that I'm looking for, and I said, you know what the thing is though, I'm wondering if you guys have something like a multi-pack, like maybe, I don't know, something like a 3-pack. And so he was like, yeah, sure, we actually have something like that already pre-made. And so he gave me a quote, and he said, you can get 3 customized units on one card, just like this, essentially, for $4.62. Wow. $4.62. So I could get this customized, and then I could sell it, arguably, for $15. But you have to buy 250 units. So doing quick math there, that's like a $1,200 investment, which is a little bit rich for my blood and what I normally like to start with. But the stats were here, the numbers were here. This felt like a proven product. It was the same company, so I knew it was a good quality product, and in a somewhat of an unsaturated space. So I'm sort of doing this little happy dance in my office, and I was getting really excited. And I started telling my family about it, and I started calling and telling people about it. And then it sort of dawned on me, there's probably a good reason, Christy, why no one else is out there on the market. So I kind of sat on that for like a day, and I sort of metaphorically trudged back to my computer, and I emailed the guy back, and I said, so I have a storefront on Amazon. Is it okay, or is it okay that I take this product and I sell it on Amazon and eBay and other online platforms? He wrote me back, and he was immediately, no, absolutely not. They have a patent on this. So, bummer, my bubble was very much burst. The story doesn't really have a happy ending from that perspective, but as I just sort of
only happy endings on this webinar. Come on.
No. But but I love sharing the story because it encompasses so much of what we're talking about. First of all, this landed on my lap. I didn't have to do any work for this. I asked one question, and it landed on my lap, which was fantastic. So guys, anytime you talk to a promotional company, please ask them. That is going to be such a solid lead for you. Yeah. But had this worked out, going back to this concept of going around to the manufacturer, think about the math here. I would have paid $4 for a single unit, or I would have paid close to $5 for three units by following the source here. So that is a huge, we go from $5, what would have been $12 to less than $5 for the same thing. That makes this product very doable. Had they allowed me to do that, that made that product very doable. So granted, I would have had to lay out, $1,000 to start with, and for a lot of us, we are not ready to do that. So, but it's a prime example of how I could have tested the market, knowing that that option was out there. I probably would have gone to the promotional company and I would have said, knowing that I might have, maybe turned whatever 20-cent profit. At least I wouldn't be losing money, and I would have probably tested the market at that lower price, but in a low ROI, but I would have had this plan in place the whole time to start sourcing my product for such an extremely discounted amount. So in a nutshell, the options that you have once you get a good product going, you don't have to stay with the same supplier is all this really is bringing. So I'm going to stop here for just a second because you guys already saw a sneak preview. We're getting into the examples next. But I want to stop here and say, Ryan, does anybody have any questions? Because that's sort of a new concept that I'm bringing to the table.
Nothing, no new. I mean, there's questions from earlier. So we'll save those to the end, but nothing like in the last minute.
Okay. Well, I know we're in a bit of a delay, so we can give it a second, but I'm happy to go into more detail about that. But in the meantime, let's get going. So, guys, this would not be a promotional company webinar if I did not include some pretty classic things that you would get at a promotional company. So, this is a set of koozies, Mr. and Miss here. You can find it on Amazon. It's about $10 a set. The 3-month average rank is right at $17,000. It's in the home and kitchen category. Using Jungle Scout sales estimator, this is about 200 sales per month. What is the material? This is koozies. These are koozies. So estimated cost here. I found this, and I told you guys I would share the suppliers with you, at a company called Total Wedding Koozies. And I priced this out that you can get 50 sets. So you're going to get 50 of these and 50 of these. So 50 sets for less than $100, which makes these each about like 99 cents a piece. The pricing obviously goes down with this company, so I just wanted to keep it at what's the minimum that you can get a good amount. 50 is a good amount to test, but not go over that $100 amount. So this can go down in price. But I love this example because it's cheap. It's very small. And it's something that you can, not a lot with the shipping costs. And you can use this for just about anything, right? So, you can do things. I saw one recently. I don't know how anybody feels about everything that's happening with the politics, but there were some interesting political ones that were out there. But you could do things, it doesn't have to be wedding. It could be, a national holiday theme like a St. Patty's Day. Certainly doesn't have to be wedding, but this is a very... This also falls into the generic category where if you decided, now this company in particular can get it down to, I'm kind of going back here, but maybe, 40 cents a unit, from 99 cents to 40 cents or something like that. So you can get the price down pretty good on these using this same company that I have. But if you wanted to go even lower than that, this is a perfect example of something that is so generic that you could find any number of wholesale companies or any number of manufacturers out there that would be able to, once you've got this design going, once you've got this product proven, you can just go find another supplier that won't cost you $2 a set. Right. Moving on. All right. I did a sneak peek earlier with Abe Ortolani. And he loved this one, so I'm hoping it's okay that I still show it. So this one here is these are lunchbox loves for kids. So the concept here is that there's these little cards that mom will drop in, your lunch as she's making lunch in the morning, and then whenever you open it up at lunchtime, you see a little card from mom, which is really cute. This one is particularly about riddles. There are so many other options that are out there, but price on Amazon, guys. This is almost $24. $24 for a 12-pack. So that means 12 of these. A 12-pack that has the average rank 90 days is 11,316 in office products, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but okay. Sales per month, 174. What is this made out of? To me, this looks like a business card. This looks like a business card. It looks like the shape and the size of a business card. So I did an estimated cost. I went with a really classic example. I went with Vistaprint. But I was using this for the pricing. I was using this, their ultra thick business cards, and I chose that example because these are very much, they don't remind me of, if you've ever felt them, they don't remind me of an actual business card. They are thicker than a credit card, so they really don't bend. If I were to use something like this, I would want to use something that didn't probably resemble a business card, even though it was. So I figured out that you could do probably about 40 sets for less than $100. And guys, for something like this, for me personally, I would probably, instead of making it so about riddles maybe, or so confined to that, but you could certainly, I would probably just start off with blank cards. I would do a blank card. And I would do something that was, and I would include something maybe like a list of riddles for mom to choose from, right? So mom can't choose these, but then she could write them on there. So start with a blank design. You can do jokes. You could do inspirational quotes. You could do love notes, sayings, riddles, and just give all the examples for mom to be able to handwrite on those. So certainly you could do something like that, but the packaging, the reason that I did this from $1 to $3, you could certainly get this lower than that. The reason is you may also want packaging. You may want to, I think a good selling point for this is what it looks like, this box or the packaging here on how it's being sold. So I think, so you could do a lot of different options. So I sort of gave you a variety there, but this to me looks like a business card. So I would probably go to some place like Vistaprint and use it. So
awesome.
Moving on. All right. Oh, this lead, unicorns. This lead actually did come from Abe Ortolani. He's a really good friend of mine, a good pal of mine. He lives kind of in the nearby area. He is dubbed, and has been for a long time in my mind, sort of a data mining expert, if you will. He discovered this phrase. He was using the keywords trend tool, and he was just searching for trending search terms, and he sent out this message that he found unicorn as a trending generic search term. And so, which is kind of hilarious because I think he's doing quite a bit with, or wanting to do quite a bit with unicorns, which is.
Christy, we should tell everybody what he found today.
You can feel free to say that.
We'll make that a mystery. That was just funny.
We're gonna leave that one a mystery. Yes. Probably not the best thing to share on a webinar. So when he told me this, so he said, okay, so unicorn. So it's a trending term. Okay, so this is where I'm getting my leads. So I go to Amazon, and I search the term unicorn, and it was like a page or two into it, and this particular product popped up. So. What this is a poster. It's a poster, and it's selling for $8.49. This is merchant fulfilled. So that's interesting because the rank is 7,000 in automotive, which is, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense if we're doing the parking thing. Sales a month, average, again, for Jungle Scout, 153. And so this is with merchant fulfilled. And I have to believe if you were doing this prime, even if you were charging a little bit more, you might get more than that kind of sales. That's just my kind of gut feeling that I think a lot of people, right?
Yeah, for sure. If there's no prime on it and you put a prime listing on, the sales are going to be higher. Yeah.
Right. So material. So I think this was just a poster material. It's 11 by 7. But I actually sourced this from a company called Print Papa. It's one of my favorites. I found a 100-pound gloss card, a poster card. And I found that you could get probably about 100 posters under $100.
Wow.
So
goodness.
Good amount to test with. And posters are so universal. I mean, I can't even begin to talk about all the examples that a poster could be. But they are so universal. So it could be really anything. But what I really like about Print Papa, and there's a couple of companies that I put in there for printing in particular, is that they will send you a lot of these big promotional companies that handle mostly printing, paper printing type products, will send you a free swatch of the varieties of paper, because who really knows what 100-pound gloss card postcard stock is? I don't know what that really is. So they'll send you a swatch that has maybe 20 different pieces of paper on there, so you can figure out what gloss means and what texture and this sort of, coating and this thickness and that kind of thing. So you do not need to be a master at learning the ins and outs of different types of paper. No one should know that. Do not spend your time doing that. So what you can do is, I know this company in particular, Print Papa, does it. I think there's a Print Safari that also does it as well that I ordered from. And they'll send you a free sampling page, just at no charge. You don't have to buy anything. You don't even have to talk to a rep. You can go on there and just say, hey, can you please ship this to me? And in a couple days, it'll show up at your house, and you'll at least have the options right in front of you. So whenever you go, whenever you are, if you're looking to do something like this, you then have the physical products of the paper in front of you, so you can make a better decision on what stock you would like to have your poster, your postcard, your card, your business card printed on, that type of thing. So go, yay unicorns.
Yeah, those are awesome. Just so you guys know, I mean, like the back at the unicorns thing, it's not, most of you probably get this, but it's not that you would come up with a unicorn one. Is you can find any niche and make it the parking. So using like Abe's data mining workshop that we did a couple weeks ago, find these niches that people are searching for that aren't products, or even just any niche that's hot, and change the name, and you can have multiple signs across several different niches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm trying to give you guys as much as I can. I think I've done it so far.
You're doing well. This is awesome.
The backstory of how I came across this particular product. So this particular product that's on the screen right now, I found it because I purchased a very, very similar item for a party I was throwing. And I tell you, I kid you not, I cringed as I had to click buy for this product, because I bought it on Amazon, because I know how inflated this price is. And so it was so painful for me, because it was even more expensive than what this one's being charged.
Why didn't you just make your own?
I didn't have any time. In fact, I had so little time that I had to pay overnight.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you, it was painful to pay the amount of money that I paid for that.
That's funny. Mark in the chat room says he was looking at these wedding cards last week.
There's, good stuff, right? So, hopefully, Mark, if you haven't found a supplier, I've got a couple of leads there for you. So
cool.
All right. So where were we? So 55 Printing. That's the company that I found this from. And again, it's on the list. So you guys don't have to memorize this. You don't have to jot it down really feverishly fast. You'll get that in the list. And in the list, I'll show you, actually, we'll just do a live viewing here in a minute, but I'll show you how it's kind of broken out, and you can see which I pulled out the particular these companies, and I wrote over to the side which one they matched up against. You can look into that. So, all right, so this is basically $13 for a 40 count. So it's a pack of 40. There is a 90-day rank, 3-month average rank of 10,252 in the home and kitchen category, and that has a pretty solid amount of sales per month, 263. So what is this material? To me, I'm guessing these are square postcards. And so, yeah, I mean, it's about that size. I mean, I think I looked up the dimension, and I'm pretty sure that's how I got to the 4, but I don't quite remember it now. It might have been like 4 1/4, but when you're not jumping on this listing, you're creating your own. So you're basically just trying to replicate that. And I was able to find a company using 55 Printing for 125 sets for less than $100.
Oh my goodness.
So, and these are just 4-inch square postcards, and you can do this, guys, for anything. It does not have to be wedding cards. I do a lot. I mean, obviously, you guys, if you saw the first webinar, if you've seen this one, I bring a lot of sentimental value. I do a lot with parties. I do a lot with themes. That is just naturally where my mind goes, but I'm sure that there are so many geniuses of you out there that could easily find other products that are just not it's something that would just never occur to me whatsoever. So please don't use this. This is just where my mind goes. So, but you can do this for anything. I'm thinking you could do this for a baby shower. You could use this for, I'm thinking, graduation cards, right? It could be any sort of voting ballot. And so what I have over here is this this box. This is not part of the same listing. This box is actually the most frequently purchased item for these cards. So not the same listing, but often purchased together. And the reason that I like this particular listing so much, or this example so much, is because not only do I like the cards, right, but immediately to me, this says I can make an exclusive bundle out of this, or I can make so this is a private label. This is not. You can go buy this very specific box at a different store for probably a couple dollars. So you could either take your product and put it with this box, or you could go find a box of your own, or any sort of container you want, because think about it, advice cards, they need to go into some sort of container, right? So to me, when I look at this type of product, as I'm staring at this, I'm thinking I immediately can get two potential products or listings out of this one idea. So, you know, I'm sure that people could probably come up with more than that, but to me, at least, I see two obvious ones. So, you could also do multi-packs. I mean, 40 count, right? You know, if you're doing, some people have more than 40 people come to their wedding. So, you could also do multi-packs for something like this. So that's the reason that I think this is a very versatile type of thing that you could do a lot with. Okay, this one. So I will tell you guys right off the bat. Here, it's a product. This is a centerpiece. This is supposed to go with a mustache party theme. It's a centerpiece, 3 boxes here. You can find it on Amazon for about $8. 3-month average rank is a little over 14,000 in toys and games, which makes it about 180 sales per month. And these guys are paper boxes. So I've marked out the cost here because I will tell you, I don't believe that you can do this. Well, I have yet to find, let me correct myself, a way to do this for $100 and make a profit at this particular price point. Guys, when you use these examples, you don't have to stick with this price point. You don't have to stay at $8. Now, you might be able to if you increase your price, or if it was just maybe 1 or 2 boxes instead of 3. So why did I include this? I instantly, when I saw this was a really great example to me because, and all of these are just examples, right? But this embodies everything that we are talking about. These examples are not necessarily for you to go out and replicate, guys. It's more, I want to get the wheels turning. Mm-hmm. I want to get the wheels turning on creative ways that you can use basic products that pretty much have no value, none whatsoever. Paper really doesn't have a whole lot of value until you can find a way to bring value to them. So in this case, this is a trending thing, right? Mustaches. I don't get it. It's a thing. I don't get it, but it's a thing. Another trending theme, I'll tell you, while we're talking about that, is that appears to be, to me, in my opinion, a little bit untapped, is, you're going to laugh at this, but baby gender reveal parties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because we talked about this. Yeah, baby gender reveal parties. I do have to put baby in front because people get confused on what those are, but let me just tell you anyway. Let me just tell you anyway, that they are basically when you're pregnant and you find out if you're going to have a boy or a girl, usually you go to the doctor and the doctor kind of writes it down on a piece of paper and you give it to like a trusted friend or family member, and they basically throw a party for you. And at some point in the party, it is revealed, whether that's with balloons or whether that's, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but you reveal either pink or blue, it's a party. So baby gender reveal parties. So the reason, as we're just talking about this, the reason that I think that, and I guess before I throw out numbers, I should probably give you a baseline perspective. Frozen is one of, it's one of the biggest party themes that are out there right now. So if you search on Amazon, Frozen party, you're going to get something like 70,000 results of products that fall into that search term. And on the other hand, if you search gender reveal party, you're going to get less than 9,000 results. So we went from 70,000 to 9,000, which makes sense. Frozen's a lot more popular, right? Most people have heard of that. But according to Merchant Words, the search term for Frozen party supplies has nearly 500,000 search hits each month. Right? 500,000, that's a lot. That's what you would expect for Frozen. But I had no idea what my expectation would be. But gender party supplies, if you search that into Merchant Words, that has 250,000, right? So it's half of the search volume. But it is a fraction of the products that are available for purchase on Amazon right now, right? So we went from 500,000 searches for 70,000 results to 250,000 searches, which is pretty substantial, for less than 9,000 results. To me, that says there's a gap here. Let's talk about that. And it's also one that is not a branded, right? Frozen is branded. That's really hard to tap into. So I just want to reiterate, this is about, getting the wheels turning here. So it's not so much about these examples, but it's about how you can look at a box and say, what can I do with that? How can I bring value to that? Most people would stare at a piece of paper and have no idea until you start seeing examples. So I'm hoping that someone can look at this and be like, hey, you know, I know how to use a box for a display, or I know how to use a box because it's a container. All these different ways that you can use them. So get your wheels turning about that. You could also use a box as your ballot card, right?
Right.
And vote for if it's a boy or a girl, maybe. So anyway, all right.
I like that.
Going through, how are we doing on time? Shoot.
Order after.
Sorry, is everyone okay? Are we okay?
Yeah, I think they're bored. I think they're ready to be done.
Goodness, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. You know I can't see the chat.
The chat room says this is horrible, boring.
Ryan,
Totally just kidding.
Okay, so all right, so we got a couple more examples here. I'll run through them. All right, so this here is a backdrop photo. So this picture, we're looking at this particular product with this girl in pink, not this one. This girl in pink, it's a backdrop photo, right? So price on Amazon is $19.49. 3-month average rank is 25,232 in toys, which is an average of 83 sales per month. And this is a material that is made out of poster, and it is black and white. Remember I said before about potential printing costs in color? Black and white, you have one color printing.
Wow.
So estimated cost here. Posters, large posters, guys, they are just expensive. You're not going to be able to find them for pennies the way that you would with other paper. And this is simply because the printer that is used to print on this is just a large, wide printer. They're more rare and they're more expensive to run. So posters are just going to be more expensive. The reason I chose this product, my natural instinct was to go to, well, this is props. Look at that. That's an 8.5 by 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. That's super easy to do.
Are these just photo props? Somebody's asking what these are. This
is a photo prop. Wait. No, this is a listing that you can find this picture on Amazon. This is an actual product on Amazon. This isn't the main product. This is one of the secondary product, but I did it because otherwise you probably wouldn't know what it was used for. Mm-hmm. But yes, this right here, we're looking at this product. I found this product because I originally saw this one. So these are two different listings here, but very simple or very similar. And you can see, so my first instinct was, well, this is paper, right? I can make all of these. This is really easy for me to do. Doing props, photo booths are very popular right now. But it's also, I'm going to say this, generally it's a relatively saturated market, and usually you have to put so many, 25 different units together, and you really can't charge that much for them. Most listings are $6, $7, $8. I'm saying that as a generic. I'm sure that there's some outliers out there, but so my thought was, fine, then I won't do anything with photo props. But then I was thinking about it more, and I was thinking, well, there's something else here in the back of the picture. And I know that photo booths and the props that go along with them is a trend right now. So how can I ride the coattails of that trend? And I'm thinking, well, what else is a complementary product if it's not going to be the props? And it'll be backdrops. So that's
what do people use these? So people are confused in the chat room of what even photo props are.
So okay. So photo booths. Photo booths are. I guess it's a thing right now where you basically take pictures somewhere and you have a backdrop and you have any sort of props. So you can use like this particular example, Saucy and Bossy. I mean, this would probably be used for a bachelorette, but you see a lot of them where it's little sticks where you hold them up to your face, and maybe it's like a mustache, or maybe it's a little hat, or maybe you can even, or maybe they don't even have to be paper things. You can put them on. I recently went to a Great Gatsby party, and so we had jewels and we had boas and things like that. And so the idea is that you put on these different accessories and then you take pictures with a scenery in the background.
Right. And so Audrey's asking, is this done like at weddings and showers and stuff like that? Okay.
Every bachelorette, wedding party, and baby shower I have been to in the last 2 years has had a photo booth there in some way, shape, or form. So yes.
Cool.
So knowing, in my opinion, I mean, I found that to be very popular, and so I was looking for a way to, in this webinar, my goal was I wanted to show you guys photo props, but props. But I kind of thought that it was not the best method to go. You certainly could do this, absolutely 100%. I won't discourage anyone. But for this, I really liked the fact that the amount of props that are out there versus the volume of backdrops that are out there, and they're so complementary to each other, is much less. And so I figured that is a market that still rides this trend, but is a lot less saturated. So that's how I went about finding this particular product instead of doing something like this. So is that still confusing?
No, I think people are saying they understand. Yeah, that Patty says even high school dances have them now.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I mean they're sort of everywhere. So I found this. I found this at Chili Printing, and that's in the Excel. It's in the Excel file.
Okay.
All right, we've got just a couple more, guys. I'm sorry, I know we're going well over. I have a love-hate relationship with mugs. I'll just go ahead and admit that now. There is a high barrier to entry when it comes to mugs. So mugs, I think, have a lot of potential. I think almost like merch with like t-shirts, you could throw pretty much any saying, any phrase, any artwork on a mug. And I'm not saying it's going to sell, but it's very easy to just create mugs and something that of a trending whatever, the same way that you would do with a t-shirt. So I think there is a lot of potential, in my opinion, for mugs. And I get a lot of my inspiration for things on the t-shirts, by the way. So love-hate relationship, I think that there's a lot of potential for it, but there's a high barrier to entry for this. So let's go through this listing and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But this is a set for $27. 3-month average rank is just shy of 19,000. It's in home and kitchen, so sales per month is 186. This material is a ceramic mug. Again, guys, this is one of the most basic mugs you can find anywhere. So I have this listed anywhere from $3.50 to $10. $10. This is very expensive, but I put it on here because you could still make this work with this price point.
Sure.
But the reason it is so expensive, so I had mentioned this before when it came to setup fees and when it came to color processing. There's always going to be a setup fee the first time. This is a classic example of pretty much any company you come across. They're going to say, yep, it's going to cost you $50 or whatever, something like that. That's just an average to set it up and on each place. So if you wanted this on both sides of the mug, I think you're going to do $250. So it's going to be a $100 setup fee. So if I found this, because you guys will do some research, you'll see that you'll find a mug like this and I'll say, yeah, I'll put your artwork on it. It'll look just like this. And it'll cost you 99 cents. And you're thinking, fantastic. But then it'll say, yeah, but if you want more colors to it, then it's an additional 35 cents per color. And on top of that, there's a $50 setup fee for every color that we have to add. So all of a sudden, you go from something that would have been a 99-cent mug, and you start adding pinks and greens and peaches and other things like that until you get to 4-color processing. You're going to be talking about a $4 or $5 mug. Now, that is all one-time setup fee. Those fees. Now, the 35 cents per unit won't be a one-time setup fee if you just want multiple colors printed every single time. But the $50 for every single color or for every single imprint location, that is all a one-time fee. So the first time to get into this area, it's going to be a little bit painful. You're not going to do it for $100. But immediately when you order your second round, you can do it for $100. So it's really kind of a backwards concept. You really go down in price the second time. It doesn't even matter the quantity. You could certainly buy more quantity and be charged less. But this is purely about getting around that setup fee. So love-hate relationship with mugs, really, really great. I think there's a lot of potential there, but guys, you got to just be aware. Don't let it don't get super excited and then like fall off whenever you realize after you crunch the numbers and they send you a quote back and it says, yeah, it'll be $500, right?
Right. So, quick question on the packaging on the mugs. Do they come packaged for shipping? You get them from the promo company?
Some of them can. I mean, this is the type of product that you can get anywhere with anyone, so I would find the best company that you could and negotiate whatever the packaging looks like. I did not set out a particular company that for you to with this cost associated, because within the promotional company, you guys, there's a ton. I mean, probably at least 10 of the companies that I put in there, you'll be able to find this exact same mug. So I didn't give you just one because of questions like that, because you might have interest in packaging, because one company might have a better pricing on 2-color processing and one company might have a better on 4-color processing. So there's a lot of leads in there for you guys.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
You're doing well.
We're getting there. We're getting through there. Okay. This is pretty much my last example. I'll run through it pretty quickly. I love this example. This is my favorite example in the sense that this is probably the easiest one for you to do. So what do we have here? We have, these are wine bottle labels, but guys, they're just labels. There's 4 different designs on here. So you can find them on Amazon for $8 for this 4 count, 4 different designs. 3-month average rank is almost 5,000. Home and category, ridiculous amounts of sales per month. What are they? They're 4x5 stickers. So I have this as an estimated cost of 80 cents, but I will tell you that I did this in different tiers, because what I want to point out that may not be obvious right away is that there are 4 different designs here. Whenever you print any one thing, you are printing, most printers, you're repeating the same design. So if you would have to buy 100 of these and 100 of these, or whatever, 50 of these, 50 of these, 50 of these, if you wanted a 50 pack, right? So you're paying for 200 labels if you want a 50 pack, that kind of thing. So that can be a bit expensive. You may or may not be able to do that for $100, but it can be pretty expensive. So this is one of those examples that, and I have done something, not to this perspective, but I've done this method that I'm about to tell you. What I would do is I would buy labels, blank labels. And I have this here as, I don't know if you can see this. So Uline, guys, we all get our stuff at Uline, right? Or most of us for our packing stuff. You can get these labels. There's 4 up on a page. You can get a box that has 400, which really means 100 sheets with 4 on a sheet for $30. $30 for 1 box. So I would take those, I would have my design made, and I would make 1 design here and 1 design here and 1 here and 1 here. And then I would go to my local print store. I would go to like something like a Staples, and they would charge me maybe 45 to 50 cents to print each one of these pages. So that's how I'm getting to this 80 cents here. The beauty of, and I would not print this at home. I don't recommend printing at home. Staples has or other local print companies, they have a much better printing machine that is the same printing machine that if you had it printed on the other side of the country. They have really good printing machines there, so you're getting the same quality, but you can turn this around in a couple of days as long as you have that artwork ready. So, and you can have 100 of these. You can have 100 of these, or you cannot. You can do as many or as little as you want. So let's say I wanted these 4 designs, but then I also want to do sort of a bachelorette version or a 21st birthday or a New Year's Eve. I could print, I have a whole box of labels, right? And it doesn't cost me, it costs me the same amount no matter what design I put on here. So maybe I would test out 25 of these, and I would do 25 of the New Year's Eve bottles, or 25 of the 21st birthday, that type of thing. So I would do, I love this because you can do so much with this for so little, and you can test it. This is something I bet anyone, if you want to do a race out there, you could do this in a week. It's easily. So love this. I love this idea.
That's awesome.
Okay, we're on the last here. I had a couple here, notable mentions from Etsy. As I've been going through, I've been trying to tell you where I'm getting my inspiration from. I get so much from Etsy and Pinterest. I said this in the first webinar. The most creative, inspirational people on the planet live on Etsy and Pinterest. They just do. So I'm not saying this is not.
They're mostly women, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know that.
They are.
But they could.
That's awesome.
They are.
They are.
So you could. So this is not about go there and steal their ideas. This is not about what that is. This is about where you can get inspiration for what things are popular. So I put this on here. So these are juice box labels, water bottle labels. Water bottle labels. So let's go with juice box labels. I have seen these on Etsy. I have seen them at little kids' birthday parties that I've been to. I will not say I will not say that this absolutely doesn't exist on Amazon, but in the few minutes I took to look up juice box labels and the variety of ways that I might search for that, I didn't really find anything like that. So as far as I can tell, these are fairly popular. I don't have a whole lot of metrics from Etsy to say that one way or another, but there's a lot of these versions on here. So this would be the type of thing where I would say, is this selling well on Etsy? And what does the marketplace look like that for Amazon? So going from one to the other. This is another example, because I think I had mentioned in the first webinar about adding things. If you're going to do a party pack for a Frozen birthday party or a Ninja Turtle birthday party, what else can you add to your classic bundle, right? That's like the cups and the plates and the napkins that all match. What else can you add to that? If not paper plates or paper placemats, find something to go around a juice box, right? Or a bottle for the adults. Do something like this for water for the adults. You can do it around Coke cans, things like that. So these are just kind of notable mentions from Etsy. I also found this because I saw this. I was at a wedding. The bride gave this to the groom. This says, in case, I know you can't see very well, in case of cold feet, your bride, which is adorable.
It is cool.
So, and you could just find some generic socks, go source those anywhere. They don't have to be branded at all. But all this is a piece of paper. Or you could make it a long sticker and just wrap it around and it's stuck to the socks. So guys, they're just really creative ideas. So I want you, now you have sources. This is my last one here, guys. Now you have sources, you have ideas. I'm hoping that you got something from this that sparks something for you that you're like, I can go out and do that. I'm hoping that I can give you, using Abe's, keywords, trend tools, and looking at what's popular out there. Look on Etsy, look on Pinterest. Find these things that are really popular, and go for them. Look at how can you connect those? How can you connect a trend to one of these promotional type items? So one more thing here. I'm going to show you the list because I think you're going to get it in the email. So this is what the list looks like. I've got it broken up here. Wait, you can see this, right? You can see it? Yeah. Into different categories. So we've got the company here. We've got the URL that you can find it. The product types and descriptions. This is not all-inclusive, not even close to all-inclusive to what these things can, to what these companies provide. And then there's a notes section for some of these things. So for instance, Packlane is a box company. I personally would never order from Packlane, but why I love it, why I put it on here, was that they have this amazing 3D modeling. So if you were looking to put a design on the outside of a box, go to this website, upload your design. You can do it for free because they'll just test it. They want you to see what it looks like. It's all online. And see what it's going to look like on your shape of a box. So I put on here, I would probably, the prices are pretty high, so relatively speaking, so I probably would not order from here, but I would use that. So that's sort of what this notes section is for. But I've got it here. I've got some for boxes. This is printing. So these are all the companies, most of the companies that generally do things like stickers and decals and flyers and business cards and postcards and that type of thing. This section here is about specialty. So I've got things in here for blankets, custom party favors and accessories, wedding party favors. They just sort of specialize in sort of unique items. And then these companies are the big companies. They're a little bit of everything. This is what I would say when I had mentioned Safeguard in the first one. This is where I would throw Safeguard in the mix. There's a little bit of everything. And I attempted, guys, to put out a lot of the items that you could find here. So it could be helpful if you're going here, you have an idea, and you say, oh my gosh, now I've got 50 to look through. Which one is the right one? Do a control find and see if you're looking for control find. Do mugs. I might not have, that doesn't mean that there's one company on here that does mugs and I maybe just forgot to write that on there, or I didn't get to it because the list was so long. But if you're looking for it, that's how you can use this list. And then down here at the bottom, this is where you're going to see the suggestions from the webinar. This is the koozies or the 4x4 wedding advice cards, the mugshot backdrop, the unicorn poster. So this is where you're going to see things that I pulled out specifically. And they're a combination of any one of these sections. So I just wanted to show you guys how you can use this and what you can expect whenever you guys get sent this link.
Awesome.
Whew. Man, I didn't even get close to my time. Didn't even get close.
You failed.
I know I failed.
Over-delivered.
So Abe, oh my goodness, why? Ryan, I'm going to pass this on over to you.
All right, cool. Let me just share my screen real quick. I know that there's some questions in the chat room. We'll get to those in just a second. I just wanted to share with you guys, if you want to hang out with Christy more, you want more opportunities let me make sure everybody can see that. There we go. If you want more opportunities to be with Christy, ask questions. Let me tell you really quickly about the private label mentoring program. A lot of you guys are already in there. It's basically a Facebook group community. We have about 400 people in there. It's group mentoring. Christy's in there, Abe's in there, Jenny Hunt, Skip McGrath. These are just some of the lessons that we have. It's basically just my private label, the Easy Way method. But I knew you guys came on here for Christy's method, and so her method is kind of becoming a part of the Easy Way. In fact, it's the easier way, honestly. But you guys get all these lessons in the mentoring program. There's the mentors that are in there. It's a private Facebook community. It's an awesome community. We're very active. Lots of good people in there that are sharing their success stories. And if you have questions going forward, that's the place to be. Basically, the benefits of being in a group like this, one of the biggest ones there is just you're not alone. It's a supportive community that can help you along the way. Easily have your PL by Q4. Now, I know we're in Q4, but using one of the methods that Christy talked about tonight, you guys could easily have your product in, like, ready to go by the peak of Q4, because we're not even there yet. You guys get the private label wholesale database and the supplier database. The bonus too, you get the full webinar series that I did. It goes through all the lessons 1 through 6. There's 6 modules in it, and I went through all of that live. You get access to that. That's valued at $9.97. You constantly, by being in that, you get updates from Christy's List. Last year we charged $7.97 for it. When we launched it, there's a money-back guarantee. This is just a testimonial from my friend Joy Packard, who's in there and is very helpful. If you have questions, contact me there. The webinar sale is $347. It's normally $800, guys. You get 17 lessons, a private Facebook community, 50% off the database. Get the private label webinar series, update to Christy's List, but the next 20 people get it for $297. Let me post the link here, and then we are going to go right into questions.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there is the link. I'll post it in the chat too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so guys, that's if you guys are interested in mentoring, want access to Christy going forward, this is the easiest place to find her. She's in there all the time and is super, super helpful, brings a lot of value to my group, and I'm tremendously thankful. You have no idea what it means to me to find, somebody like Christy that can, find other ways of doing this and just bring value to the people in that group. It's so fun to see it. Yeah. All right, questions. Let's get through these as quickly as we possibly can. Larry wants to know about outsourcing. Do you when you do the graphics for different things, do you outsource that, or do you do it yourself? And if you do it yourself, if someone wants to learn how to do it themselves, what software would they use?
Good question. So I generally, I started off doing the graphic design myself. I use the Adobe suite, which is Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. Mm-hmm. I don't do that anymore because I'm not as great, I'm not as fast, and quite frankly, it's a lot cheaper to go to Fiverr. Mm-hmm. There are some extremely talented people that are very they just have different specialties on Fiverr. Mm-hmm. So I would absolutely check that out. And that's pretty much exclusively where I go now.
Awesome. And I know manufacturers do some of their own printing, right? They'll do the printing for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
That's one of the questions that Laura had. Yeah. Let's see here.
Well, if you have any specific questions, because I do know that I've been a part of a couple of other threads on various Facebook groups, people talking about what tools to use if you were going to do your own design. I will tell you, the Adobe suite is what most top-notch graphic designers, that's sort of like one of the best that you can use. There are so many, and it's expensive. I say that because it's one of the top-notch things that you can use. So that's I don't know that I would recommend, if you're not going to invest time in really learning how to be a graphic designer, I would not probably go with that, because
it's not a good use of your time unless you're really good at it and you can do it quickly. But for me, I'm not, and so I would totally hire something like that out. Let a professional do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grant lives in Canada and wants to know about buying from promotional companies. Do you need any kind of business tax ID, state tax ID, or anything like that?
So obviously I live in the United States. I've never had to use that, but I don't think so.
Like when you place orders with them, are you having to provide anything other than just your credit card, essentially?
No. So the only thing that I would think that might be different is if you used your credit card and your address for shipping. Mm-hmm. That might be, but I don't think that they ever have any reason to not want to send to you.
Yep, absolutely. And Grant, also, even if you are in Canada, there's my friend Jason Tay, who lives in Singapore. He buys from wholesalers, and now we're talking about promotional companies, so their standards are not even as high. It's a lot easier to buy from promotional companies, but even if you're buying from a wholesale company, like Jason Tay uses his Singapore business ID and does it all the time. Okay, let's see. Patty said that she's after the last webinar, she contacted one of the promotional companies, and they told her that all they did is quote promotional products, not private label. Are there some that do not? Are there some that do not that you know of?
I think it's my guess is that that's well, without knowing who you contacted, my guess is that that's a difference of terminology.
Yep, I think so too.
What we call private label is not a normal phrase for the rest of the world.
Right.
What we call private label is essentially putting our artwork on their product. So as long as that's what you are asking them to do, they can absolutely do that for you.
Awesome. Very cool. Audrey was asking about placemats, and I think I answered her question, but let's just get your take on it. She says when designing a placemat, she wouldn't want her logo on the mat, or the packaging. So how does Vistaprint fit into that? And I just said basically, well, you're not putting your logo. You'd put like a picture of Santa or a snowman or anything like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. So the question was
like promotional companies, people think you're putting your business logo on there to pass out to potential clients and all that. Like,
right.
And so we're just doing a different take on that.
Yeah, you're doing, so I keep saying logo, but what I really mean is artwork. So that could be whatever you want. Yep. Your logo could be your artwork, or it could be a Santa, right? So it's whatever you want to put on there. They don't have any restrictions to say, oh my gosh, no, it has to be a logo. It has to be letters on here. So no, you can use whatever your artwork is, if that is a logo or an image.
Perfect. Audrey also wants to know if you have other products besides just the PL products.
I do, like as overall.
Other stuff you sell on Amazon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep, that's what I thought too. Some of these, some of the questions I answered in the chat, but some of these I wanted to save at the end.
Yeah, I do a lot with exclusive with bundling as well. I find that using this method is just so much easier. It's just you pick something, whatever you want to bundle, whatever looks like a good bundle that you could buy anyway. Stick a promotional product with that, and it's exclusive to you then. I mean,
awesome.
So I do that quite often.
Michelle wants to know, promotional companies have much higher pricing, and if one is using the rule of 3, like, buy it for 10, sell it for 30, for example, it's hard to make the numbers work. What do you suggest to make their pricing work?
Oh, so gosh, so much of that I think depends on what the product is.
I mean, like your examples in the webinar obviously made sense, or you wouldn't have shown them.
Right. So this would be one of those times, I mean, that I would either look for a different, so first thing I would do is I would look for a different promotional company if you really can't make the numbers work, or I would start doing this technique that I was saying, look for the supplier behind them. Who is the manufacturer? Who's the wholesale? This is a perfect example of saying, I really can't make these numbers work for me, so I need to find someone else. And so let's say you found that manufacturer, let's say you did that digging, you could, and then they said, okay, well, yeah, but the minimum is whatever, $2,000. You're not ready to do that. So I would go and I would take that cut and I would make a low, make $1 or $2 off of that first batch that I got from the promotional company. If that's what it sounds like you're getting, that you're not going to get a great ROI. And I would prove that product. And then I would immediately, knowing that when the time comes, I would be ready to drop $2,000 and then immediately increase my ROI. So I think,
beautiful.
Is that answering the question?
Yep. So a couple people asking about prep and packing. Like, do you do the bundles and stuff yourself, or do you have like a prep company do it?
Both. I do. It depends on which one. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have someone here locally who'll just come over to my house and kind of put it all together for me when I'm feeling lazy.
Okay. 2 more that I see on here. So Lori wants to know, once you have your product fully formed, ready, do you have the promo company do all the packaging for you? For example, if you were putting a pack of those wedding advice cards together, would you have the company do all the printing and also the packing?
There are companies, yes and no. There are companies that will do that for you, especially if you're getting big quantities of, a great example is the postcards. They can usually, you can say, I want you to shrink wrap them, or I don't know, somehow put them together in a pack of, let's say, 50. Some companies will do that for you. I will tell you, they're not going to do it for free. So you're going to have to figure out right away if that is going to be something that fits in your profit margin. But a lot of companies will do that.
Okay. Somebody's asking, do you know the main company behind all of these print companies? Is it just one company behind them all?
The print companies?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
I don't either.
I don't. But a lot of times the difference is when you're dealing with a print company, a lot of times the print company is sort of, I mean, I don't want to say that they're the manufacturer because that could be inaccurate, but you're not going through too many chains before you're getting to where this product is actually being produced.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
When you create your bundle with one of your private label products and a brand name product, who do you put as the brand name when you create your listing on Amazon? Are you putting like the brand name's brand or yours?
Mine. I use mine.
Yep.
I mean, as long as it's not, right, so because there's Amazon has their regulations around bundles. A generic product with another one, a Disney product, and call it a Disney product. I have one exception to that is because the private label piece that I've added to that is so really insignificant. It's more just about adding something, just adding that additional piece so that people can't jump on it. That's the only one that I keep still under the name brand, but everything else I put under my brand.
Cool. Abe wants to know how and when we can meet you in person.
Actually, it's just talking about this, and I was I'm thinking about having a live event, and I've been teasing Abe about it because he does live kind of nearby. Having a live event here in the Boston area, sometime here, probably in about 4 weeks. And probably I think the second weekend of November. So I was just going to finalize the details, Abe, and then sort of send that out. But maybe we can get Ryan to Ryan. You want to come to Boston?
I would love to come to Boston.
You want to come to Boston?
A lot of fun. Yeah, I used to be a huge Boston Celtics fan when I was a kid. Loved Larry Bird. So
yeah. So no, but I was thinking about this because I know that there's a lot of local people to the area, and I know that a lot of people have had questions. I've had quite a few conversations with a lot of people individually here in the area, also through Facebook, and it was just sort of suggested that we should probably all get together live and see what we can do with that. So finalizing the details, Abe and I have been talking about that. I really want to drag him and make him be involved with it because he's fantastic, guys. What he does with data and all the ways that he can find trends and words and phrases and pay-per-click and the gaps out there is just, it blows my mind. I know how it works and it still blows my mind. So I'm definitely going to snag him if I end up doing that. But more details to come on that.
Audrey says, Bird, McHale, and Parrish. That's right. And Abe knows all those guys. So Anselmo has some questions about the promotional companies and the whole concept. So I just was telling him, and I know him, he was at my ASD walkthrough. And so Anselmo, just email me and I will, I can help you out going through that. Because we're getting to the end of our time. Mary, I think we'll take the last question. Mary says, does she use her name or her store name?
I would never, my business name with Amazon is not one that I would ever use to promote my products. I have different brand names.
Yep. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, my email is in here. It's ryan@ryanrieger.com. I just posted it in the chat room. Feel free to ask me questions because I've been on these 2 webinars. I've been chatting with Christy a lot. I think, I know her method pretty well and can answer questions. Of course, anything I can't, I'll make sure that she gets to it. Let's see here. Oh, Lori, a quick question here. Link to purchase. Yeah, Lori, I can get you the link to Abe's webinar. I will actually, I can put that in the email that goes out in the morning.
Yeah.
Write a note to do that. Link to Abe's. That was a good one. A lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight is things, they're complementary.
They're very complimentary, yes.
Cool. Guys, thank you so much. Christy, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It's awesome to have you.
Definitely. Well, I'm so happy to come back, and I hope this was really good value, and I really hope that people have the opportunity to use the promotional companies, really take the sources that you've been given here.
Yeah.
and really make that connection, and then really make it work, and eventually at some point, you don't always have to use the promotional companies if they don't make sense, or if they're padding a little bit, if they're skimming a little bit too much off the top, which is it's what they do, but they do that so they can give you lower minimums, so that makes it worth it for you. But I really hope that this is helpful for you guys. I am available. Facebook, you can always send me a quick message. I'm in Ryan's group, as he said before. Ryan can also pass out my information if for tomorrow. So thank you. I thank you, everyone who showed up to this. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Real quick, we got a question under the gun before we end this. Richard wants to know, never use Amazon name as business name ? Please explain.
Okay, so let's see. So whenever you register for your account and you become a seller at Amazon, you have set up a business name, whatever that is. Whenever I create private label products, and whenever you go into that listing and you're creating the product for the first time, you have to list who is the brand owner, who is the manufacturer, right? That is a question that you have to add whenever you're creating the listing page, the new listing page of your new product on Amazon. That is what we mean by the name versus that brand name versus your seller name. Right. Your seller name really should not be promoted anywhere ever.
Yeah, I don't do that either. For wholesale companies, I'd rather I buy under a different name than my Amazon store name. You don't have to do that. Just learn that from Skip McGrath. Just easier to do it that way. So
yeah.
Guys, seriously, if you haven't, I just need to cut it off because I'm going to the Ecom Chicago conference tomorrow morning. I have a 6:00 flight, and still got to pack, but I'm available. Email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com if you have any more questions. I'm going to let Christy go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thanks, guys.